Hello, my name is David Ferguson.
And I'm Sean Patterson, and we are the directors of Rewired Consulting.
We would like to welcome you to the Rewired Consulting Podcast, featuring guests from across the IT industry.
We will be talking to technology leaders from all over New Zealand, providing unique insight and good chat with the people on the front line of innovation and transformation.
This series will give you a great opportunity to hear the stories of the people involved and create the strategy and vision for some of New Zealand's most interesting businesses. This episode is sponsored by SmartSpace AI, the enterprise platform that reduces AI deployment time from months to minutes. With SmartSpace, you can start developing AI solutions immediately, thanks to our pre-built infrastructure. Our platform empowers you to build and deploy generative AI use cases without limitations, whether you're rapidly prototyping or scaling production use cases. Gain full control over AI models and resources while integrating seamlessly with your existing systems. Best of all, instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars building generative AI infrastructure from scratch, you can get started for as low as $400 a month. Ready to accelerate your AI journey and unlock new possibilities? Visit smartspace.ai or connect with us through the Azure Marketplace. SmartSpace AI, building insights, not infrastructure. Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of the Rewired Consulting Podcast, and the first episode of season 2 for 2025. Last year we had a great time doing our first season of the podcast. We had some really good guests from across the New Zealand IT and digital industry, and the topics of conversation and the people we chatted for was really good. In terms of this year, how we're going to start things off, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and it's going to be myself and Sean talking more about us as people, how we got into the industry, and also a little bit about Rewired and some tips or some insights into how last year was and how this year's looking as well.
Yeah, cool. So, although we've done the podcast for the last year, and thank you to everyone who's taken the time to listen and the guests and stuff that we've had on. It's been great. Some people might not know too much about myself and David, so I thought that would be quite a good place to start. Firstly, myself, I've been in New Zealand for the last 8 years. Originally come from Edinburgh in Scotland, and when I came to New Zealand, I was offered a job at global recruitment business Robert Walters, and that's where I kind of cut my teeth in recruitment. I actually wasn't going to take the role. I had a couple of offers elsewhere, and David, I actually met him for a coffee. Although he was on a separate team, I met him for a coffee, and we got on really well. And I decided that I was going to take it up. So that's where I started. Was there for 3 years before I moved on internally. So I went to Auckland Transport for 18 months and recruited their technology team. That was the first time I delved into the sort of tech recruitment world, which was great. So done that for 18 months, and then was kind of thinking about what was next. And yeah, something that me and David had always discussed and spoke about, had been doing our own thing. So David called me up one day, and 3.5 years later, here we are. So that's a bit about me. So David, I'll let you give a bit of rundown about your background.
Yeah, so I've been in New Zealand a little bit longer. So I've been here, I'm coming up to 12 years now. I'm originally from Derry in Ireland. And my trip to New Zealand was originally supposed to be a very short one. Well, probably a few months before getting off to South America. That was the original plan. But when I arrived, I got meeting to I met with an Irish girl who was talking about some opportunities at Robert Walters. Had a chat. Didn't really have much interest in recruitment. I came from quite a strong sales background in Ireland, and she thought I would be a good fit for Robert Walters. So I went and had a chat with one of the leaders. He's still there at the moment, David the French guy, and still a good friend. And the rest is history. Ended up spending 7 years at Robert Walters. I had a great time there. I learned a lot, worked with some great leaders, and got good exposure around the New Zealand market as well. Originally, I started recruiting in accounting and finance, did that for a good few years, and then moved across to IT and digital, and got my first handling of a management role as well. So I did that for 7 years, and after 7 years, I felt I did need a change. Working in the IT industry, a good change for me and a good opportunity came across with Datacom. Aidan Tracy, the head of recruitment there, and a guy I used to play football with, had an opportunity, and I managed to move into an internal role there as a recruitment business partner. It was great for me. Got good insights into working for a New Zealand IT services business, and it was really good for me to work with the senior leaders there and talk through the strategies and work through the strategies. And yeah, got really good connections from it as well. But spent about a year there and decided, yeah, my passion still lay in agency. But I wasn't ready to go out and start my own business yet. I'd admired the guys at Halo from afar for quite some time. Those guys had done a really, really good job. And when I moved across to them, I had an opportunity to move across to them. They'd recently been acquired by Consult. So I thought I would give it a go and see what those guys were all about. But 6 months in post-COVID world with a buoyant recruitment market, I decided there's no point in waiting. And was having a bad day one day and give Sean a call, and he was having a bit of a bad day. Well, maybe not a bad day. We just thought our opportunity to go and start our own business was right now. And yeah, 3.5 years later, things have been pretty good. And I think it was a good call, wasn't it, Sean?
Yeah, it was brilliant, actually. Yeah. And I think that was, I think in recruitment, as anyone who's worked in it will know, there's ups and downs and stuff like that. But when it's your own business, there's a lot of pride and a lot of dedication and hard work that goes into it. And yeah, it's been, just over 3 years. I mean, the time's flew in. I don't know about you, but it does seem as though it's went super quick, right?
Yeah, it disappears. But I suppose, look, just to provide a wee bit of context, obviously about why we started the business as well. So look, in 2021, it was those post-COVID years, and look, we did see a big gap in the market. And we had that idea to build a business on a vision to sort of bring a fresh, high-quality approach to the recruitment industry. With the experience that we had over those number of years beforehand, and working both agency and internal, I think we saw firsthand the limitations and inconsistencies in service offered by some of the larger agencies and some of the more medium-sized agencies. And not a slight on them; it's just the way those businesses operate. We basically set out a vision. And in terms of how we thought we could go to the market, we thought we could bring a lot of value. We already had lots of relationships in terms of the stuff that we've been doing in the previous 10 years for myself, Sean, a bit less. But we knew if we went to market at the right time and we sold ourselves in the right way, we could build a successful business. We went for it. And look, we were very, very specific that we did want to focus on the IT and digital industry. It's an industry that we both had a good bit of experience in. It's an industry, as far as I'm concerned, as far as we're concerned, is still probably the biggest growth industry. Yes, there's a lot of competition out there, but we felt with our service offering, we could break into that. We could break into that market in a real and good, meaningful way.
Yeah, and I think that just to kind of further on from that, I guess what we were thinking about how we would work and what we would do slightly different to everyone else out there is. First thing about me and David is that when we started it, we wanted to work everything together. So we don't split anything in terms of clients, candidates, roles, nothing like that. So I guess the benefit for that, for businesses is and what we found that they enjoy is they're getting 2 senior recruiters work everything together. And we run the whole process together. Clients know the both of us. And I think that's been really beneficial. Obviously, for the client to have that relationship quite closely with the two of us is great. We've got a lot of skin in the game as well. So, it's only the two of us. We're in it for the long haul. Our reputation, our brand is everything to us. So that's always in the back of our minds when we're working, and fortunate to work with the clients and businesses that we do. And I guess the other thing as well was we only focus on tech and digital. It's what we know. What we've done for years, it's what we're good at. We've got no plans to start recruiting in any other sectors that we're not across and don't know. The other thing as well, I think that's beneficial with the two of us is that, and what we found from maybe other businesses that do it, and again, this is nothing against them, everyone's different, is that we are full 360. So what you see is what you get. We pitch for the work, we win the business, we deliver on the business. It's not picked up by someone and then passed over to someone else. We do the full works, which I think is really good. And also, I mean, under the sort of tech and digital umbrella, we cover everything, which another thing is that we found with maybe other businesses is that, you go to one person for software, business analysts, for another person you'll go for testers, for infrastructure, for data, whereas with me and David, we cover the full, all the verticals, both perm and contract. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop for businesses and their needs. And yeah, we find that really beneficial because it means that we really understand the business, understand the clients, understand the culture. And like I said, that from the last 3 years that we've been running it this way, businesses have been really enjoying the fact that they can come to either one of us and we know what they're all about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the thing. It's like the good thing for us when we started the business as well. There was two things when we started the business. We started the business in August 2021, and we were all ready to go. And then the day before we were to launch, we went into the biggest lockdown of COVID. So we were a wee bit scared when we went into it, but it also was the most buoyant recruitment market I think New Zealand had ever seen. Great thing for us is because we had a bit of skin in the game, we were actually able to pick up work pretty quickly just from our reputations and promoting ourselves on LinkedIn, which was really, really refreshing. It showed that, because it's always a bit of a challenging thing to go and start your own business and you're worried that you're not going to have the business, but we were able to pick up business pretty quickly, which was good. And we've developed that relationships with those clients over the last few years. But what we've also found is off the back of the work we've been doing with those clients, we've been getting good referrals for other businesses. And also our business development pitch, a lot of our pitches, people will either from last year, they'll see our podcast, they'll be referred from someone else, and we'll tell them to give us a chance. Give us one role, let us deliver for you. And 9 out of 10 times, we end up becoming their number one supplier. So it's been really, really good and really refreshing. And yeah, we're looking forward to kicking through into 2025 and having a good year. Yeah, this will be our 4th year. So yeah, really excited about that. And just touching on last year as well, I think I'll just go back and do a bit of a review on it, be it a short one. So 2024, as we all know, was a very, very challenging year across the board, but there were still some good success stories out there as well. I think looking at the wider picture first, there was a lot of doom and gloom. We had a lot of huge number of restructures and redundancies, and look, the market was flooded by a lot of talent. The lack of that buoyant recruitment market meant there was a lot of competition out there for the roles that were there. And it led to a lot of people coming onto the market who hadn't been in the market either ever or in a long time. And it caused a lot of frustration for those people, a lot of despair for people not picking work up straight away. But for the businesses, and luckily we worked with quite a few of them last year, for the businesses that were still pushing forward with different projects and for businesses that weren't affected by the economic recession, they were able to pick up the people that they weren't able to pick up post-COVID. So it was a bit of a double-edged sword. There were some businesses out there that were able to do really, really well, but I suppose overall it wasn't the best year from a recruitment perspective. One of the big takeaways that we've seen, just because of the amount of candidates coming onto the market again, was the real need to actually look at yourself, look at your CV, and look at your personal brand, and be able to sell yourself in the right way. A lot of people out there probably just expected to be able to pick up work because they've been in great roles and stuff like that. But making yourself stand out is really important. So whether it's looking at your CV, refining it, shortening it down, making it more sort of connected to the roles that you're applying for, and also getting your personal brand out there on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's still by far the best platform to show who you are to the business world. Although it is coming a bit more like Facebook. But definitely from a business perspective, it's a good way of getting yourself out there and showing people what you're all about. So that's the advice that we've given to a lot of candidates. And even with that, people doing that and getting that, it's still very, very difficult just because of the number of candidates that are out there. But my advice would be going into 2025 is definitely still keep on doing that because it's really, really important to make yourself stand out. The other big thing, which is mentioned by basically every business that we work with or every podcast we did last year as well, was having a chat around AI and how that's going to impact on business and the industry going forward. I think a lot of businesses are still looking at the strategy and what they're going to do with it. There's a lot of companies out there and a lot of consultancies that are popping up who are saying, push forward, we can help you, we can do this, we can do that. But I still think it's very much a wait and see and making sure that the business cases are right and to push through with those strategies. So I think in 2025, we're going to see a lot more of sort of stuff going into production, stuff getting out to the market. But there still will be a bit of sort of caution to make sure that it's done in the right way. but it's definitely going to be a big disruptor across every industry, and particularly in the recruitment industry as well. I think it's going to it's going to impact on the recruitment industry quite a bit this year as well. How exactly that does so, we'll wait and see. But yeah, as everyone knows, AI is the big buzzword. And yeah, looking into 2025, Sean's just going to give a bit of an insight into that.
Yeah, I think everyone was probably a little bit glad to see the back of 2024, given what David was mentioning there. But look, I mean, obviously with this time of year, it's summer holidays and the market's always generally a little bit slow to kick off, given that, like I said, the summer holidays. But I certainly think that although it's early in the year, the signs are fairly positive. I know obviously so many businesses, organizations went through a lot of restructures and redundancies last year. Generally though, what will happen is, once those businesses have done that in the next sort of 6 to 12 months thereafter, we do see a sort of peak where they start hiring again. So with so many businesses going through that last year, we're hopeful that things will pick up again towards the early middle of this year. I think that certainly the early signs are what we've been kind of seeing is a lot of sort of BA, business analyst type roles pop up quite early on, which is generally a good sign in the IT industry, that projects are getting started and up and running, which has a kind of ripple effect to then hiring for other positions. I think we're all hopeful as well. I mean, obviously, given Wellington's been hit pretty hard in the last sort of 12 months with the new government and projects being put on hold, that'll be this year will certainly pick up, and it always has a kind of ripple effect from Wellington across the country. If there's more roles, even if it is government, but more roles popping up and coming up down there, that it will have a effect on the rest of the country. So although it's only January, and it's early days, I think we're cautiously optimistic about what this future or what this year holds. Like I said, it's early days, but always cautiously optimistic about what's to come this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, and just touching on that, I think a lot of people were expecting the light switch just to come on in 2025 after the saying last year, survived to 25. But look, the reality of the matter is things are going to slowly get back to a bit of normality before we go through the growth years again. So I think 2025 is going to be a transition year, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities out there, and there's going to be businesses who want to get stuff going again. From a recruitment perspective, if you are a business and you're starting to think about hiring, you've got roadmaps of plans of recruitment this year, and now is the time to start implementing those, because if you do it now, you're going to get a march on some of your competitors, because there'll be some people who might sleepwalk into 2025, and before you know it, then we're back into a candidate short market. So from a business perspective, yeah, definitely start thinking about who you want to get on board and how you're going to do that. Also, if you're a candidate, keep on doing what I was saying earlier, is making sure you stand out, making sure your personal brand looks good, and making sure when you're looking for the right role and you're putting yourself in front of people, you're putting your best foot forward. So yeah, look, I think that's a good sort of take on us, the business, what we're all about, how we work, some of the reviews, the review of last year and obviously the preview of this year. And look, just coming back to the podcast. So yeah, this is season 2 of the podcast. Our plan is to do things a bit bigger and better this year. We're now going to be on YouTube, so we've decided to put our mugs on camera. Yeah,
Influencers.
that's how we're going to run it going forward. We had some amazing guests last year. We're so thankful of some of the people that came on. Some really good innovators and leaders across IT, recruitment, and a few different areas, some business owners as well. So it was really, really good.
I want to say as well, David, just on that, like I kind of mentioned it towards the end of last year, but when we came up with the idea of doing the podcast, we weren't sure if people would listen, what the take would be, but we knew we wanted to do something and add a bit of value back. So we were kind of blown away by the response that we had, the listeners that we had from across New Zealand, overseas, the messages of support and just people popping up saying that they listen to the podcast and enjoy it. So to anyone who has listened, and hopefully you continue to listen into season 2, thank you so much, because it means a lot. We enjoy doing it, and we're looking forward to doing it and bringing on more guests and good insight in 2025.
Yeah, and just on that as well, look, we did have people who reached out to us about the podcast and said they really enjoy listening to the podcast. And then a few weeks after, we managed to have them on the podcast. So if you are someone who enjoys the podcast and you're thinking about putting yourself out there and you want to have a chat about coming on the podcast, don't be shy about reaching out to us, because we'd love to hear from you. That would be great. And look, also just look in terms of Rewired as well. So as I said, look, just with recruitment strategies and business strategies and stuff like that. Now you know a little bit more about us. Obviously, there's a lot of clients we work with who know all about us. If you enjoyed the podcast and you like what you sounded, or you like how we sound, and you want the opportunity to maybe have a chat with us to see how we work and going into 2025, again, reach out to us and we'd be more than happy to come and have a chat with you. So yeah, look, that's about it. For those people who haven't sort of liked or followed our content on the likes of Spotify and Apple and stuff like that, if you've enjoyed this, please do so. And also, this is on our YouTube channel now as well. So if you could do us a big favor and subscribe to that as well, it'd be great. But yeah, looking forward to having you join us on season 2. And we'll leave it for now. Thanks very much for your time.
Cheers.